Macron and Rutte discussed the coalition of the willing and collective defense. Putin exploits Trump conversation to discredit Ukraine and how Ukraine to get long-range weapons very soon. The latest news next. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin used a phone call with Donald Trump to try to portray Ukraine as an illegitimate negotiating partner who is not interested in peace, the Institute for the Study of War reports. According to Yuri Ushakov, Russia's presidential aide for foreign policy, Putin discussed with Trump May 31st train derailment in Russia, Ukrainian strikes on Russian military air bases on June 1st, and Ukrainian-Russian talks in Istanbul on June 2nd. Putin complained to Trump that Ukraine was allegedly responsible for the train derailment, but as Ushakov noted, Moscow did not give in and still took part in the talks in Istanbul despite the provocations.
Putin's statements to Trump are also likely aimed at distracting from Russia's own disinterest in negotiations and continued preparations for a prolonged war effort so as to avoid possible future U.S. sanctions by painting Ukraine as a bad actor.
About Trump and Putin's phone call. Yesterday, June 4th, Trump held a phone call with Putin. During the conversation, Putin complained about the spiderweb operation of the Security Service of Ukraine and, according to the White House, threatened to respond. The US president in turn claimed that he was unaware of Ukrainians' plans. Putin's cynical manipulation is infuriating. He dares to pose as a victim while orchestrating chaos, destruction, and lies. Calling Ukraine illegitimate after invading it is the height of hypocrisy. His phone call with Trump reeks of propaganda, a calculated move to deflect blame, stall real peace efforts, and keep the war machine running under false pretenses. It's sickening how he weaponizes diplomacy just as ruthlessly as missiles. Ukrainian troops may soon receive long-range weapons produced in Ukraine with funding from Germany, according to German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius. Speaking ahead of Rammstein meeting, Pistorius said the first batch of Ukrainian-made long-range weapons could be delivered soon, though he did not provide specific dates.
We also agreed to continue supplying air defense systems, weapons, and ammunition. We are financing, and this is becoming increasingly important at this stage of the war, repair facilities in Ukraine, as well as a significant portion of satellite communications.
Following the Rammstein meeting, the German minister added that the German-funded long-range weapons could be delivered to Ukraine before the end of this year. He did not disclose the specific type of weapon. Russia should start preparing, not just politically but physically, because soon Ukraine will have enough long-range missiles produced on its own soil and funded by Germany to strike back hard and deep. These weapons won't just defend, they will reach where it hurts. The Kremlin's false sense of invincibility. The Kremlin's false sense of invincibility is crumbling and the myth of untouchability is about to be shattered. Kiev's not backing down, it's gearing up. Putin the bunker rat will soon have every reason to be afraid. He can hide in bunkers, but the fear will follow because Ukraine is coming for justice and no corner of Russia will feel truly safe. Ukrainian Defense Forces launched a precision missile strike on a Russian missile unit near the town of Klintsy in Russia's Bryansk region on the 5th of June, reported by General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. It is reported that a Russian unit of the 26th Missile Brigade was preparing a strike presumably on Kiev. Due to operational reconnaissance and coordination of Ukrainian units, the attack was prevented. Early reports indicate that as a result of the strike, one Russian Iskander missile launcher detonated and two more were seriously damaged. Russian losses are being confirmed. There were no casualties among the civilian population. Every weapon aimed at Ukrainian lives will be hunted down and destroyed with precision, with fury, with unwavering resolve. No launcher, no drone, no missile system used to kill innocent people will be left untouched. Ukraine's message is clear. If you target our cities, we will target your machines of death. This is not revenge. This is justice armed with accuracy, and it will not stop until every threat is silenced. European Commission chief says Europe wants to hit Russia with new sanctions simultaneously with the US. The European Union is ready to impose sanctions on Russia simultaneously with the USA in order to pressure Moscow into agreeing to peace talks, Politico reports, citing European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. In an interview on the Berlin Playbook podcast, the President of the European Commission emphasized that Europe is primarily focused on sanctions targeting Russian energy and pressuring Russia's sources of financing. Politico adds that the new European restrictions may affect companies linked to the two Nord Stream gas pipelines between Russia and Germany, as well as a reduction in the oil price cap. Following her meeting with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, which took place on Monday, Ursula von der Leyen welcomed his plans to continue pressuring Russia. If the Americans decide to impose sanctions, then the 500% tariffs will be included in that package, the European Commission President explained. According to von der Leyen's spokesperson Paolo Pino, the European strategy is to closely coordinate actions with the United States. At the same time, these actions cannot be identical. When will Russia feel pain? When the West finally stops tiptoeing and starts punishing with intent, not symbolic slaps, real crushing economic blows. Every delay in sanctions is a green light for more bloodshed. Every barrel of oil sold, every gas deal signed is a bullet paid for. If the free world truly believes in justice, it must act like it. No more waiting. Make the Kremlin bleed financially until they cannot afford terror anymore. Sanction every bank, target every energy dollar, freeze every oligarch's life. Make them feel the war at home the way Ukrainians feel it every single day. On Wednesday evening, French President Emmanuel Macron held talks with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, during which he emphasized the role of the coalition of the willing in creating conditions for a lasting peace in Ukraine and the importance of strengthening defense efforts. This was reported by the President's office, according to a correspondent of Ukrinform.
The President of France reaffirmed the importance of the coalition of the willing, which he co-leads with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in laying the groundwork for sustainable peace.
According to the President's office, the French leader and the NATO Secretary General discussed Russian aggression in Ukraine and Moscow's refusal to engage in good faith efforts toward a just and enduring peace, efforts initiated, among others, by the President of the United States and supported by the Ukrainian side. Another topic of discussion was the key items on the agenda of the upcoming NATO summit in The Hague, particularly the importance of strengthening commitments on defense spending by all alliance members. The President presented France's vision in this context, including efforts to reinforce Europe's strategic autonomy, its defense industrial base, and the European pillar within NATO, the statement notes. The head of the Fifth Republic also reiterated that the French armed forces are among the key contributors to NATO's deterrence and defense posture on Europe's eastern flank. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe.